Where we left off, we realized that our leading needs some serious adjustments. So what we're going to do is a two-parter here. We're going to keep our experimental type thing going, but we're also going to grab the artboard tool, make a little artboard over here that we can start to take some notes on, because this will help us a lot as we start to shift things around size-wise for the better. So let's start here. Okay, so since this is the first item at the top of the menu, we don't really have to worry about the leading for it. So what we have to do is look at the item below that and say, is the distance between here appropriate right now? So we're saying appetizers, and then we're going to start listing the appetizers. So this will depend a lot on what style you're after. I mean, this doesn't feel like ridiculously close right now, so it's not fundamentally wrong. Like if the descenders of the P were touching the ascenders, or I should say of appetizers, were touching the ascenders and the fish and cheese sticks, then of course you'd be too close. But I'm looking for kind of an airy, open feel on the menu, so what I'm going to do is just double or triple click, whatever it takes to get just this whole line selected. I'm going to go over to the leading, and I'm going to beef it up a little bit first with these presets, and that's not what I'm after. So I'll just swipe my cursor across here and just keep hitting the up key till I get something I like. Okay, so I like that. And I'm either going to write that down or just remember it for now, that leading was 37 points, and I'll go to the next thing that is like that, which is the first item under main. So I'll change that to 37. And then the next thing I have like that is the first drink that is under drinks. So I'll change that to 37. So hopefully you see the beautiful consistency that you start to get by doing this. Now, our biggest offender right now is mains and drinks. If there was something before appetizers, then that would also be equally bad. So these two we need to establish a certain amount of leading for. And when you're doing leading, it's just another way of creating space, and all space should follow the principle of proximity, and that is that things that belong together should be close together. So I'm going to make an adjustment here and see if you can tell me visually what's wrong with it. Okay, would that be okay for mains? I'll tell you why I say no. If you look at the distance between appetizers and the appetizers, there's a pretty good amount of space there. It doesn't make any sense for the distance from the appetizers to mains to be anywhere near this close. And right now it's closer. So what it does is it visually implies that mains belongs to appetizers, which it does not. So we are going to make sure that the visual matches the reality. The reality is mains are its own category. So I'm going to remember that 63 looked pretty good there, and then we'll come over to drinks, select it, and we'll put 63 in for the leading there. Now it's already starting to come together much better. And so really what our next issue is these items, should the distance between fish and sticks and the descriptions be that great? And I would say it's a little bit too far away. So you always go to the item below to make the adjustments, and right now it's set at 21. So let's select this whole line here, and that might not be too bad there at 12, maybe a little more. Let's say 14 for that. Now again, yours is going to vary, and what you want to do is just try it and And then once you get it down, you'll start making notes. But let's just say hold off on that for a while. So we're going to click this whole line, and every first line we're going to change to 14, what we were referring to as our body copy before. But it's really the description. But in an area where we have, see how there's 2 lines here? We haven't got to the second line yet. Oop, for some reason that one didn't take. So we're only looking at the first line. We're not going to change, well, it looks like it's going to change both of them anyhow, or at least the way I made that selection. So we'll just go ahead and we'll stick with that for now, but we may want to come in and change that. Okay, and I'll get back to you in a second. Here's where we get to the part where we have to kind of step back and zoom out, get a little distance from it, start getting rid of things that should not be there. But I still feel like for a nice airy menu where appetizers is one entity, that mains is too close to appetizers and drinks is too close. So I'll just simply put my cursor in there, up that a little bit more until it feels right. And let's say that that distance is now 94. I'll repeat the same thing there. And then before we make any more changes, like I still want to address this, let's see if we like the width that we have. So we can click on the text area, and this is one of the other beautiful things about text area is if we change this box size, we don't have to hold down the shift key or anything. It's not going to squish the text. The text is just automatically going to flow inside of here. So if this was a nice airy menu, that might look perfect just like that. And then, but maybe we would want to at that point get the prices out a little bit, which in what case or in which case we would just have to go up to, with this selected. And well, in fact, since we're going to be changing things inside of here, we may as well get a cursor in there, do Command A to select all of it, go to Window, Type, and then Tabs. And grab this guy here and move it out a little bit. Now I moved it too far so that it kicked down here, but that's not a problem. I'm just going to close this, come back here, grab this box, bring it out. If I like that, fine. Maybe I'm, well, here, I'll pause it and get it to where I like it, but you get the idea. It's just a back and forth. Maybe I like that, but I don't want any type out past here. And rather than set 2 separate type boxes, which will get kind of messy, what I'll do is I will just kick the items down to the next line. Now, there's a couple of important things to talk about on that. One is that you do not want to have what you call a widow here. And a widow is type that's on a line by itself that is small. So here, no problem, here, no problem, here, no problem, although it's getting close. But the general rule of thumb is you want at least 7 characters here, not counting the space in between. So if you had a word like Mississippi, some people still consider that a widow. On a menu, you could probably get away with it with no one complaining. But I always like to take the safest bet and say no single words by themselves. And even if there's small words like the, and, I'll count those up, and that comes to 5, and I say that's not enough. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. The other one is when we kick this type to the next line, we don't want to just put in the cursor here and hit return. What we want to do is hit shift return. And the difference is that puts in what's called a soft return. And sometimes it doesn't matter, but in a lot of cases, what happens is a soft return is better, because it doesn't tell the computer that, oop, that's a new paragraph. And when you have the program set up to do new things to a paragraph, that's when it becomes a problem. So I'll go right in front of that word. I'll go shift, return, kick that over. That looks like that might be okay there. But you really, before you do this kind of real fine stuff, you want to make sure that the sizing is right. So you could get everything done up until this part. But I'll show you how you can, if you do need to change the menu later, how you can find all those soft returns easier than just rooting through for them. And see, here's a good thing, like we probably want, we're probably going to go here and kick it through just so it doesn't look at all widowy. Okay, so probably be a good time to save all that. And okay, so if in the future you needed to find all those soft returns, you can go to Type and you can go to Show Hidden Characters right there. And let me zoom in a bit. And you can see the difference. That's a soft return right there, that little thing that looks like bracketish. That's a hard return. And notice it looks like a backwards P, which I guess means paragraph. All right, and the last main thing to contend with is all of our descriptions that have a second line of text. And that's just a little bit too much, right? Because these two things are supposed to look like they belong together under this, right? So all three things belong together, but these two lines of text have a stronger relationship. So I'm just going to select just that one row there of text, and I'm going to change it so that it just has, and this is my default amount, is 3 points of leading. So I generally don't go any smaller than that, but I think that would be appropriate here. So I'm going to put in 12.4, and I'm going to look at that and I'm going to say, okay, I think I like that. So now I'm going to have to change all the rest of those. But before I have a chance to forget any of this, or you know, I mean, I can always put the cursor in and read over there what it says. But here's a good thing to know, is that if you later on change the size of this and the text reflows and you happen to put your cursor here, it'll tell you what you set that to, 12.4. But let's say this word "you" gets kicked down and you put the cursor on it, it'll still say 14. So that could get confusing and break your thing. So what I would do, go over here to your notes and just start doing exactly that. Typing up all the different things that I have. I'm going to turn off the hidden characters because they're starting to get annoying now. And after each one of these, I'm just going to simply put what the font is and what the size and leading is. This is how you write this. You'd write the name of your font, and then you would write the point size, /, and the amount of leading. So let's go find the menu items. So the main menu items, if we look in here, are 14/37, and we might want to just click on a couple to, oh no, see there's a difference between the first one. Okay, so we got to address that. So let's start with the first menu item. Change this up a little bit. I put first menu items, 14/37, additional menu items, so anything under the main menu items, those are 14/21, which gives us the space to separate them from the other items. So we fill that in, 14/21. Then we find out what our first line is, and that is the dough at 9.4/14. So we are going to make a note of that. Now we have a nice little system here. And as we need to add items, we know exactly how far apart to put them, you know, or what to set the leading at. And notice how, you know, just nice this looks, where we're not picking just random sizes. Everything has a repetition to it. You never want to have a menu where in one place your description is 9.4 points and in another one it's 8 or 11. You just want a consistency. Another nice thing about area type is, as you learned in the previous videos, you can make text threads. So I'll move this over, make another artboard. Now I can just simply click on this dot here. Looks like I already did, but once you click on that, you'll get this loaded cursor. Then you can come over here, make another text box, and do yourself a huge favor and figure out what size this text box is. Make this one the exact same size, and also You don't want things like this. This is so you just like you don't want a widow, you don't want orphans. You don't want this to start down here and only have one item under it. And that's where you can use your creative license. And if you need two more food dishes, make them up.